we feel that there is something external to us that is causing us to suffer continually, when in reality, the main cause of our suffering is the self. But taking collective self-responsibility means acknowledging and embracing the shadow. The shadow is a byproduct of light. So when we fall into dense matter from perfection, we fall into a state of ignorance. We come through into the matter plane, just like jumping into a suit, just like no different from a superhero, just no different from a Matrix movie. And this is the reason why people are distant, far, far distant from what they truly are. They don't have the seriousness to be able to look at what they are, look at it and digest it and take it in and learn. That has been taken away by what I'm going to explain now, by an externalization of power. So we feel, even when we're awakening, that there are external forces that are causing our issue. There are Satanists out there, who abide by their own laws and rules, They also abide by the laws and rules of nature at the same time as well. But in many ways they do, and they're very, very organised and very, very clever. But we do not, because we are still walking around with the blindfold on. This is the situation. So in reality, there are laws inherent and written within nature. Those laws are encoded within a pack of 52 cards. The 52 cards, there is 3. There's a secret 3 that sit above as a pinnacle. And when you take away those 3, you're left with 49. Now, if we take 7 vices and 7 virtues, we can have a higher and the lower of woman. If we bring those together, that will give us our 49. It is said that each planet has 3 positive squares, 3 negative squares, and 1 neutral. And there's 7 that they're looking at, the actual, which is that is giving us 7 heavens. It's also giving us 7 angels and 7 devils at the same time as well. When we put those 2 7 together, that will then give us 4s and 9s. Even Pythagoras will tell us that, you see, your name and number defines your form, and each being is assigned with a number which denotes your form, and the name also, which is why we should hold our head up high and be take self-responsibility for all that we are. So what happens is, these squares, for example, you'll see me going back and forth because I've got lots of stuff out here right now to go through. There's these squares, We see there's these squares. These squares, this is a chessboard, right? And each one of these squares, let's just say that they're black and white squares, which is how they're supposed to be, are positive and negative. Positive and negative. Atoms that are positive and negative. And as we dance, as you, the being, dance upon these squares, your structure of what you are doesn't change, but your psychic influences, they are constantly forever changing to and fro, back and forth, and our interactions as we dance upon these squares, our interactions are the interactions that we have with the other fields that are the fields that dance and move. Yeah, those are the fields that dance and move. Let me see. Right. So this is what the new energy industry. Look. Yeah. This is what we truly are as the field, which is dancing and moving. And we are interacting and having interactions, sexual interactions, yeah, with all the other fields that we interact with. No different to luminary bodies, which is the 7 heavens, yeah. We just had an interaction, a conjunction, yeah, a synod actually, yeah, with Jupiter and Pluto, yeah, which is going to be explosive for us. Yeah, that is an interaction that takes place and then creates, yeah, then what happens is there are effects that come from that. Yeah, but when we are not mastering our own estate, yeah, the grand architect of the temple is the soul. Yeah, and when we are not mastering our own estate, yeah, then we are breaking the laws of nature, which means that we steal and we thief from others and we cause harm, yeah, and loss to others, yeah, and we are even doing this just through thought alone. Not many people speak about and teach natural law, and that is one of the main reasons why we are in this mess. See, the thing with denser matter, it doesn't rise, it refuses, it detests to rise. Yeah, it prefers to stay with the vampires and the gnomes and the demons. This is what happens when we're with denser matter. It's just a byproduct of science. This is a science that I'm actually speaking about. Yeah. The thing with denser matter form clay also, it detests, yeah, to work, and it also hates the thought of death at the same time too. Such as a paradox, because it is the work that diminishes the death, the thought of the death. In actual fact, we welcome the death through the work. Through the death, through dying, yeah, is how we accelerate in this paradox, which is how things work. And it is in that way, deliberately, yeah, this is a game and a test for a supreme being, yeah, not the mundane, yeah, not a mundane mind, yeah, that is encased within fear, yeah, because when we are in fear, we are scared of tomorrow, and because we are scared of tomorrow means that we steal and we rob from our brothers and sisters in order to get what we want. And this is what happens here with this king card here. If I take this card here, you'll see there's the king here, right? Now this king, he has what he has, yeah. What it has, yeah, is the hands open. You see, he has an open hand, and he has an open hand here to welcome in his friends. But you see, he also has a sword behind his head here, this king here, and he has one eye. And if he's focused upon mammon and he's focused on money, then he will befriend you to your face, but he will chop your head off while you're not looking. Yeah, in the aim of taking your wealth. Yeah, that is the way things work here. Yeah, when that eye is not focused upon sincerity, yeah, then this is the situation that takes place, and that takes place because it is an energy. It is an energy. It is a masculine energy that works upon strength and might. Yeah, and I'm going to explain how that energy actually works also, because these energies that I'm speaking about have actually they're a proven science of magnetism that we don't know much about, because that is the core of our supremacy. It's encoded within that law of magnetism. Yeah. So even when we have upon the wheel, because this is the wheel of fortune. This presentation I've been doing for a while now. Yeah. there's been a bit of a gap between each one. And the reason there is a bit of a gap between each one is because we have headed into moments of increasing our level of sovereignty, which is requiring that we move to lighter pastures, yeah, more eco-friendly pastures outside of the dwellings, yeah, of places where the dead reside. Yeah, so you can actually get one to take its own life willingly if you are clever enough to do it, and that is what is happening from an occult perspective. Yeah, if I mask you and you wear it for no reason, then what's happening is then I'm creating a mockery out of you, and that is the mentality that is being put out there, so to speak. And the reason that is because you're not taking control and command of your own destiny, and therefore it is being commanded for you, and it is being commanded for us in the moments when we are receiving a crowning. In the moments we are receiving a crowning, and that is why it is called corona, yeah, because you are receiving a crowning. And this is why we are where we are at. But I haven't been doing even much writing of philosophical posts at this minute, which I will be as soon as this video finishes. The word distraction, distraction, yeah, should be taught in schools, right? Because if you remember seeing this when I did this board, diamond numerology, Pythagorean numerology, gives us the master number 33. Yeah. So it has Di is a jewel. Yeah. Inside of the diamond, it's matter, but it can also contain light. It also holds light. It has dispersion. It enables it to optic dispersion, which enables it to reflect light. Yeah. Yeah. So therefore, it is doing more than one thing at once. Yeah. A distraction is doing more than one thing at once, but because of the state that we have been in, by losing our supremacy within matter, yeah, then what happens is we don't realise the depth of the reality that we are experiencing. One of the other things is that when we these plasma, so this is gold that you're looking at here, the gold, right? The platinum and gold, right? Now, the way that works is that the matter plane that we are experiencing, yeah, we look at it with mundane, carnal eyes, right? Initially we have done, right? And this is why the game has only just begun, because what actually happens is, yeah, these are psychic forces that act upon the mineral kingdom, yeah, that brings forth the world of matter. So therefore, matter itself, yeah, is transmutable into far superior lighter planes of being. And this is why we are able to take things such as this. This is why we're able to take things such as this. So copper coil. We're using plates before, now we're using coils. We're using coils, yeah, with the nanocarbons that we're able to we're able to get a more powerful plasma, a more powerful GANs actually, yeah, because the fields are more expansive here. Nanocarbons are able to fill them out more, yeah, become more expansive, yeah. So what we're able to do, so copper in alignment with Venus, yeah, like we've been, see, luminaries, spirit bodies, yeah, this is what is happening. The level of tethering is far beyond our comprehension initially. So what you'll find, and one of the main reasons why I have this project going on, which is happening, where I will be giving the gold and platinum to people directly, so they can experience. And that we start talking about sine wave, yeah, but everything is working on a transverse wave. If we work it through a scientific metaphysical energy form and a transverse wave effect, yeah. But the aim of the game is to get towards the longitudinal way. Yeah? Because in that state, you will find internal perfection. You can never reach total perfection in a matter state, in this matter state, but you can recognize and realize your perfection outside of this state, as because with this, this is a new, totally new state of being, and this is incoming from the next phase, the golden age that will be heading into. Yeah, because what it now does is it enables the soul to come in, and it enables emotions to come in. Yeah, that mean that you are continuously filled with ecstatic joy and ecstatic balance. What it is, it's a balancing, but it means that it is bringing you towards that meditative, yeah, samadhi, translucent state constantly. It is enabling you then to actually tether to nature much more than you could have done previously. It releases ideas and thoughts and needs and actual wants for other things. It means that we require much less going forward, and it also diminishes the negativities that we experience in the denser matter state. And that's why when we have scenarios where with things like eating and urine, what you call them health protocols, right? The reason that we have those is because we're in a denser matter state, and when we're in a denser matter state, we have less energy. And because we have less energy, all of our functions are actually slowing down. So we're trying to find things subconsciously to bring us back up to the state where we should be at before we fall. When we come in here, yeah, in actual fact, what is actually happening is that this soul itself, as it comes in, we'll hold this up here, yeah. The soul itself, when we come in with earth. See, this is earth, right? And then we come in with fire, yeah, and we come in with water, yeah. That's how we come in. But initially, we are a builder of our temple as the soul, because the soul is now working with the mineral kingdom, the elements of nature, which are vapors, chemicals, yeah, and the crystallizations, yeah. So all of those scenarios take place. So what we're not realizing in ignorance is that the actual soul itself, yeah, is coming in as a builder of this physical temple. If we understood that a supreme immortal being was in the building of this temple, yeah, because the sodium and potassium creates a knack, which I use to create nanocoat. I use it for nanocoating. So we're using that. What your heart is firing with, which is sodium and potassium, is an explosive force. These are explosions, explosive force. You're a super being, so you're explosive. Yeah. These forces, yeah. So that knack is responsible for the muscular movements that I make it. It's responsible for the heart, my heart palpitation. Every single time my heart is beating, it is because of the sodium and the potassium in there that is making that happen. Yeah, that is the way it's working. Right now, those metals are also lighter than water. So this is telling us that, you see, that we have to become, we will naturally, in actual fact, become a lot less dense. We will become more lighter. When we become more lighter, we become more sensitive. We become more sensitive to our feelings and become more sensitive to our surroundings. Yeah, and the soul requires this. The soul requires this, and the soul is doing this by working with the mineral kingdom and the elements within nature, yeah, to actually make that scenario take place. Now, in actual fact, it will say to you in the Bible, yeah, it will tell you in there that if we ejaculate, yeah, then we become unclean. Yeah, right. And this is what is happening here with the Jack of Diamonds. The Jack of Diamonds, he comes in, I'll take the card off. I've done this before, I've set the presentation. I'm going to do it again. Because inside of here, like I say, it's 4s and 9s. Yeah. 4s and 9s is spirit and matter. Yeah. Now, this is why, and the 4 is vital, which we're going to see. Yeah. This is why they have a 4-corner rule in these courses. They have a 4-corner rule that the writer speaks about, and that's how they bind people. Nothing. The contract doesn't stand up unless it's in alignment with these 4 corners here. These 4. See, even the card has 4 corners. This card has 4 corners, and each suit, yeah, has 13 cards. Just like there was 13 states in America. So you'll see here that this card here, this card, yeah, he has 2 eyes, yeah, because when he's coming in a state of perfection. When we are coming in, and he's coming in Libra, and the reason he's coming in Libra is because this is the morning and the evening star. But what is happening here, you see, is we have the balancing scales, yeah. The soul, yeah, learns to weigh and judge itself. We have been kind of co-opted to start judging others instead of the self, and by doing that we fall also. But he comes in here with 2 eyes. See, he has 2 eyes. Hope the focus is still there. He has 2 eyes, and you can see here. We can see here. Look, he also has the bow and arrows. The bow and arrows, right? And he has the bow and arrows, yeah, in there because he will kill off the deeds of yesterday, right? But he also has the cant hook here for cutting logs, yeah, because he's going to be cutting his way through. He's going to be cutting his way through matter, yeah, through what you call denser matter, what we would call rubble, but it's not physical rubble, it's metaphysical rubble, yeah. But what actually happens is, we then become deceived, yeah, because what happens is we compromise ourselves, yeah. The dark ones compromise people when they come into their societies now. Like this, they take it from this. Because you compromise, we become compromised, yeah. And that is why people are wearing masks, etc. Because they have become compromised. Because they have compromised their own estate. Because they are unknowingly, yeah, in ignorance, self-harming. They are self-harmers. And I was a self-harmer also. So I am not to stand here and to look down on other beings, even the dead, yeah, because that will put me in the same boat as the Satanist by me doing that, yeah. But I can get you to compromise yourself, yeah, right. And this is what, and then that will fall upon you, right. So with this ejaculation, right, what happens is that when that takes place, in the Bible it will tell you this, right? It happens, it takes place, and then you become unclean. I have seen lots of texts, in actual fact, with women it's a little bit different. They get a bypass. That's why we've had scenarios like with Samson, he get distracted by a woman, and there's other things as well. It's the same with Adam and Eve. In actual fact, Eve means life, and Adam means the earth. So Eve is the life. Yeah, right. So you become unclean, and it's the only way to clean yourself is through waters. These waters, yeah, these waters mean that you become clean by evening, and by the next day, they would say, you can become clean again. But it's much more deeper than that. It's a metaphorical talk from a occult perspective, esoteric occult perspective, for the one that has the eyes and the for the one that can see, yeah. And that's how it works, and that's why, secret to kept, and Jesus spoke in riddles, yeah, and so on and so forth. And that's why also they say when Jesus came in, he was neither male nor female. What are they telling you? Yeah, what are they telling you? But to keep on the script, yeah, that is what it states. I could read it out, It says it in the Bible. It's there. So it's through waters. It's through waters. Yeah, that you become clean again. Now, I'm dealing with Gnosis, and because I am dealing with Gnosis, means that I'm dealing with knowing. I'm not just reading it from a book. I'm doing it and reading and knowing it. Yeah. The ejaculation, in actual fact, is to be. That is one of the main causes. You see, because what happens is that they eat the apple. Yeah, they're not supposed to eat it. They're supposed to touch it. What does that tell you? Yeah. So that is why the Adams and the Eves was pushed out, because they compromised themselves, because they were not able to master the inner alchemy that we speak about here. Now, doesn't it make sense that you, as a soul, a commander of the elements and minerals, yeah, on the matter plane, that those elements, minerals, elements and forces are within the self, yeah. Now, it is water that dissolves the elements, the 4 elements. It's only water dissolves them, but the soul is impenetrable, cannot be penetrated, cannot be perished by these forces. Yeah, but water can dissolve. Right now, a lot of the goddesses, Danu, etc., as I've always been speaking about, especially with some of these other presentations, water is key. So this one here, you'll see there and here, right, that as I come through this, a lot of the rithers, yeah, they begin with the D's, right, yeah. So what happens is like you can see here, you've got the Don here, yeah, and you've got the Dnieper there, right, and where I am here, there is also a Don, and then there's the Danube, and so on and so forth. And the reason that is because the mother goddess, the Queen of the Sea, yeah, Stella Marie's Queen of the Seas, she operates via waters, yeah, and that is why I speak about Nut and Geb, yeah. It's for that exact reason, yeah. It's because she's 360 degrees of waters, yeah, and then that plane of inertia, this plane of inertia here, yeah, which is going to be Geb. So then this is why they say Adam means earth. Adam means earth, yeah. And then Nut is 360 degrees of waters. But then you'll find the word Nut inside the word UT, which you'll find as urine therapy. So then you will find that all of the elements and the minerals that are in your urine, such as your taurines, yeah, L-arginines, these are amino acids that boost sexual potency. There's no getting around it. This is what happens. And then obviously we have the GABA, right, which you know, you use it in the daytime, it connects with serotonin. So you're using it in daylight hours. What it's doing, and what needs to happen is, there was a video I tried to put on YouTube and went on, because it was old or whatever it was, right? And what actually happens is, the brain is suffering with massive oxidative stress, but so are the gonads as well. So are the gonads. The forces that I'm speaking about, nature, yeah, the creating mother and father, they make sure, especially the goddess, she works by 22s, right? I'm always going on about the 22s, yeah? She works via these the 22s, yeah? And by those, I know that with that 22 force, that 22 force is V for voltage. So you see here, that's what this is here, right? And you will see your square and compass here, yeah. Which if you take this square and compass, here, yeah. If you take that square and compass in this middle here, it's going to give you a diamond. It's going to give you a diamond, and so the diamond is always going to be the 4, which you see here. But that 4, yeah, that is also going to give you a womb at the same time, also, yeah. when that does that, that 22 will go back to 4. But that 22, this in actual fact is from a Justin Bieber video. Look, look. So it tells you here, this is your square and compass, yeah? Giving birth to life is the womb, right? And then what you have here is Master 22. There, Master 22. You've got Master 22, right? And then you've also got the pyramid here, right? There. Now, I don't want to go straight up that, and you see love, and you can see this, you've got like tears, it could even be tears coming off that love, making the crying, yeah. But you see, coming off that love, those tears, it's still waters, yeah. So, what I'm saying to you is that voltage charges from within. This is why sovereignty it begins internally with the self. It doesn't matter where you are. If you're mastering your estate, if you are mastering your estate, then divinity will not only sort of kind of back you, but you will recognise your supremacy, and you'll start to gain dominion over matter. So what actually happens is, this is just science. There is no getting around it. It's just a natural science. Now also, if it's something that we are not doing, sometimes our ego thinks, well, I'm not doing that, and it seems a bit like it's something that it seems a bit forced, or a bit too much, a bit heavy. You're saying that these things are things that we have to do. These are not. It's not the things that we have to do. Yep. These are things that we do that liberate the soul and liberate our being. Yep. I don't have to stay in mostly a raw state. It's something that I'm doing because it enables me to boost my heart energy even more, because it's enabling me to become less dense, and it's enabling me to access the soul. And the reason that it's doing that is through magnetism, which I will explain. Because positive magnetism, yeah, and the S pole does that. This is where we're working the masculine, working with the father force through oxidation, yeah, and then which I will explain how that works. So what actually happens is that if we ejaculate, if we tip this urine that is not just urine, it is now gathered, it's electrostatic charge, right? It has now gathered an increased field strength when we take it out of the vessel. The soul resides within our waters, right? So we are working with the elements of the soul when we are doing this. What we are doing, in actual fact, we're working with fire, earth, yeah, and we are working with water. So water in Spain is agua, yeah, water, right? So that's what we're talking. When we are using something like the aged urine for the purposes of putting it on our skin, yeah, first we put it on our skin, we are working with all three of these elements here. That's what we're doing. We're working with all three of those universal elements. What they are doing is providing a voltage charge, which is providing again through a positive magnetism charge. Yeah, it is providing an acceleration, which is allowing the elements to be pushed through the system at a quicker rate, providing we are doing it at the right time, using our internal biological clock, which is connected and through electrostatic charges yet again externally with the Christ-like sun. Yeah. So when you do that around sort of 12, 1 o'clock, what happens is, if one was unclean, this would accelerate your processes, and it will diminish the negative imbalance that is taking place for one becoming unclean. Yeah. Now, the Master Mason and all of this is what they know, right? But they do not teach. This is what's being hidden, and in order for this to be hidden, it's creating this power differential, which is bringing about the scenario that we are currently experiencing right now. That is what actually happens. So what then happens is this. I'm going to be using, so you'll have to bear with me whilst I do this, yeah? Because I'm going to use this to show how this works, right? So what actually happens is we fall, the jack comes in as the soul from a state of perfection, right? It comes in and it then comes into ignorance. We then fall into ignorance. When we fall into ignorance, yeah, we then become blindfolded. This is why the Masons wear. This is why they wear this blindfold, yeah, because he came in with a fresh face, glad to know it, but blindfolded, ignorant, bashful, like a raging bull in a china shop. You're just banging and cluttering into everything, yeah. You're causing harm to others because you're not able to look from the perspective of another being. You're not able to do that. So therefore, what happens is you have to bury you because you're dead. You have to bury the dead, yeah, because you are technically dead. And that what happens is you see on here, you see on this casket here, you will see 555. 555 will take you back to 6, right? You will see the checkerboard floor on there, yeah. You will also see the 1, 2, 3, 4 north, south, east, west, which is going to give you news, yeah. News, but that's going to give you 4 corners, so that's the 4 corners of a flat plane. Boom. Right. So then what happens is, you see, Michael Jackson knows that. Michael Jackson knows that, look. So he's giving you that, look. Look what he's giving you. Right. So Michael Jackson is giving you the 2 pillars. These two pillars here, he's telling you that. But look, he's also got a mask on. And you know that Michael Jackson was wearing a mask all of the time. Yeah? Because this is a long-standing operation, what we are dealing with here. This is a long-standing scenario, yeah, that has been going on for a lot longer than the lifetime that we are experiencing right now, and it is far deeper than what we can imagine. And that's why the word distraction, yeah, is DI, yeah. When you're looking, whilst you're looking one way, the real deal truth is happening in the other scenario, yeah. And it's about locations. It's about this. In the end, it will fall down to locations. It will fall down to the type of land that you are on, yeah. Whether it's soft or whether it's rock. That's what it will. That's what this is going to come down to. Because the real deal truth of what is actually happening, if that was revealed, then the world would go crazy and nobody would do anything because everybody would be worrying about a natural occurrence that is going to happen and is going to take place, yeah. And that which resides in with tethered to divinity will actually come straight the way through it. So that is what you see here. Look, yeah. Well, I'll probably go back into this because there is lots on here, and here you see this is the king and the queen. Look, this is the king and this is the same king and queen, that I have up on the board here. And that same king and queen are in alignment with the forces of magnetism. Yeah, alignment with the forces of the body. So I'm going to leave those there because what I want to do is go back into those. What I'm showing here, is this, right? The way that this works. If I can just forward this a little bit, yeah, and then hopefully you'll be able to see it. You're going to see here a goat because what happens is, I was just explaining how we become compromised through sex, right? So it's not just your sex, but it was the sex of our parents and our mother when we are incoming. If as the feminine, if the hopes and desires are in alignment with nature, yeah, which is an alignment with the fulfilling of life and the progression of life, yeah, and to do that, those thoughts have to reside above the navel. Here, they have to reside above the navel. If they fall down below the navel, then they are become animal and carnal and lustful and the desires of the self. Yeah, yeah. So if the mother has those thoughts, yeah, which is what happens, yeah, which is what happens. Impure thought, yeah, continues to breed an impure being. This is why we say that we are born into sin, because what happens is the soul takes on this animal carnal avatar flesh suit. This is no different to a game. Think of this as one of those superhero games or films, because that's what it is. Yeah, and deliberately falls in ignorance to that. Yeah. Now, a mother that is, and because thought is a wave effect also. Yeah. It is governing. Even the thought is governing our overall. What happens is our thoughts govern our overall behaviour and the way we express ourselves. So and then also what is coming in internally, what we are taking in, yeah, is then gets spat out at the other end as what we are outputting. So if there is shit coming in, yeah, which is just rubbish coming in, then we can only output rubbish, yeah. I want what I want, blah, 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 all this sort of stuff, right? I don't care what other people think. I don't care what other people want. I just want what I want. Da 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 da. All of that, yeah. And this is because then they have been taught rubbish, yeah. But then you've been told that they are then the arbiter of truth, right? Yeah. But it is coming from the ego. The ego hates enlightenment. It doesn't like that. It just wants to survive in the reptilian R complex. That's the way it works. So then what is happening is, then we are walking around on these squares. Yeah, and what each square is giving us a different tone, positive and negative. Each square is doing that. Yeah. So our psychic influences and a soul level is changing all the time. Yeah. So what's actually happening is then is that in ignorance we are walking around causing constant harm to all things that we put our magnetism upon. And even when we are awakening, we are still doing this because we have not been taught. We're not being taught yet the true laws of nature and what it really means to be truly. They're using this word. These are all definitions. What it means to truly become a master and a commander of our own estate. What it means to let the grand architect, yeah, take control and master the temple. Right. So what I want to show here is this. Hopefully you should be able to see it. Look. If you just watch the goat. Right. Now, the reason that we're showing that is because it's called riding the goat. It's called riding the goat. Yeah. I've got other slides. I don't have those other slides here right now. Right. But what's happening is, right, when the goat falls, right. So what happens is here, we fall from this position. When we fall from this position here, when we fall from here, we come in as with the millionaire and the tramp, right? But what happens is we fall. When we fall, I'm just trying to see if I can get that. When we fall into the goat of Capricorn here, right? when we fall into the goat of Capricorn, we fall into this goat, and when we fall into the goat, they call it riding the goat. They call it riding the goat. Yeah. Now, when you fall, Capricorn is the knees. So you're falling to, when they go into a church, you fall to the knees. Yeah. You fall to the knees. Just want to show this at the same time here as well. When you fall to your knees. When you go in, these people go into churches, religious churches and stuff, right? They fall to their knees and bow down, and they start what they call praying to an external force. Yeah, you got to be careful when you're calling out to external forces, because even though in this we are blindfolded, you cannot see, but just outside of here are many other beings who have failed this game, and you are stuck in what's called limbo. Yeah. So when people are calling out, etc., they're not always calling out to what they think that they are calling out to. What happens is we fall into Capricorn. When we fall into Capricorn, yeah, we then begin to what we call riding the goat. Yeah. See, this point here, this is where most beings are here now. They've fallen into this state of total imperfection. So what's actually happening is here, when they've fallen into this state of imperfection. So now we see that we said he only has one eye. Yeah. When you fall, the reason that this is a spade, this is a spade. Now you use a spade to dig up a grave, to dig up the dead. This is also not just a spade, it's actually a falling acorn. The acorn falls from the tree, and it falls and it has a threefold nature. So when it does, it falls, right? And when it falls, it has this threefold nature, which is this threefold nature here, right? And so the outer is the outer body that perishes first. Then you have the middle body, which would be the spirit, yeah. And then you have the germ inside the center. The germ is what falls into the earth. The germ is what falls into the earth, and that's what brings forth a new tree, which is the soul, because the soul never dies. Because surely you should never really truly die, because the soul can never actually really truly die, and that is why you see here, yeah, he is looking at the hourglass here, which could be the sand of time. You see, you have this sand, yeah. What happens is you have this the sand, like you've got the sand. So when the sand runs out here, it comes back down to the bottom. So and it starts again. So when one life ends, another one begins. But there's more than one meaning to that, because it's also explaining about the reality of the nature of where we are currently at. That's why. So and where we are currently at, which is here on this plane, yeah. Outside of here, as I was saying before, are extreme voltage forces, and those are reasons why, yeah, we end up with we're starting to see things like that, yeah. That's why we're starting to see things like this here, right? So, but the reason I was just showing that is because our desires, our animal carnal nature, yeah, or like I was saying, we fall not just through the sex, but through the animal intellect, yeah. In actual fact, right, we fall through causing harm to the self and through others, yeah, through by not knowing how to conduct ourselves and how not to cause harm in ignorance, yeah. But when we fall and we become compromised in this state here, the only way out of it is to go through what they call the shadow of death, yeah. We recognise that we have become a pollution. We pollute the earth. So what was happening is, as I was showing on that card, on this casket, you've got the 6 here, and then you fall into this lower 6 here. So what happens is, when we now fall, And when we fall into this lower six, yeah, we become a demon, like a demon, right? Because now we can only look to try to gratify the self, but in actual fact, what is actually happening here is that we've fallen into positive magnetism. Now, this, what I'll explain here now, yeah, with magnetism, it's all been proven. In actual fact, this was in 1936. That's how bad it is, the lies that we're dealing with here. That you'd see lies that cause massive harm to others come with massive consequence. Mega lies that keep us in this scenario that's going to take place now. Yeah, mega lies. Yeah, big lies. Because what actually happens is, yeah, when we fall into that state, yeah, with the way that the magnetism works, positive magnetism, when applied, when we apply this South Pole magnetism to the gonads or to the sexual regions of mammals that have the similar sort of blood circulation to human beings, yeah, what actually happens is with this, the king force here, they become much stronger, yeah, they become much more sexually active, right? This is what happens. But they lose their they're not as intelligent no more. And what they found was, what's actually found with the mice, yeah, and the rats actually, they have to separate. They actually have to separate the females. Yeah, they have to be separated, and the reason that they have to be separated, yeah, from them. Yeah, I'm going to see if I can read it here. Yeah, brilliant. The reason that they have to be separated from them is because they end up killing the female partners because they're so overly sex driven. This is what magnetism can do, and they use that here now, and that's why they tell you want to live fast, die young. And what it does is it diminishes the lifespan of the rice and the mice and the rats that are, yeah, working under the positive pole of magnetism alone. So I'm going to read this, right? So it will say here, the North Pole rodents and animals also show an extension of life, but by different approaches. What I'm speaking about here now, yeah, is how we, through the laws of nature, determine the length of our lifespan. And the last video I did a while ago, I was explaining about how, which I'm going to go into as well, it's called torpor, which is called torpor, right, and or torpid and torpor state. It's like hibernation, yeah, but it's not. And some animals do it, yeah, and what they do is they close off their bodily senses to allow the magnetism, just magnetism runs, and then their body goes into like a hibernation type state, yeah. And you can do this with a human being, yeah, and prolong your life. You could put a human being in a dark space, in a dark place, yeah, and it will be perceived as though they are dead, yeah, and then you can leave them there for a lengthy period of time, yeah, and for years, and then bring them around, and you come back renewed again. Right, so it says, North Pole rodents and animals also show an extension of life, but by different approaches. The use of North Pole energies to extend life is quite different. During these North Pole experiments, yeah, it was discovered that the extension of the lifespan was the slowing down, yeah, was the slowing, right, the extension of the lifespan was the slowing down as opposed to the strengthening of the rodents or animals system. Right. This presented a slowing of maturity. This is North Pole magnetism. This is the opposite pole now, This presented a slowing of maturity, thus resulting in a longer life by diminishing, slowing down, the maturing of the physical body. Yeah. This should open new avenues of research, as in each experiment, the percentage and intelligence of the rodents and animals were upgraded as a direct positive result. So this should open up new avenues of research, as in each experiment the perception and the intelligence, right, as I'm always saying, right, of the rodents and the animals were upgraded as a direct and positive result. Yeah? Right. The North Pole exposures resulted in a weaker, smaller, or animal, animal of a slower development by extending its normal lifespan and upgrading all sensitivities, including intelligence, reflexes, and environmental reaction, inferring the brain's ability to be more sensitive in recalling information and environment. You see, the feminine pole increases intelligence, transcendental intelligence, and it diminishes the need to be constantly looking for sex. Sex is not just the animal sex that we have, and this is why we have this issue with sex, because we're ashamed of it because of what's happened to us. We've been suppressed everything, yeah. And the idea of carnivore is seek for communication, which is the three coming together. You see, so we should have a carnivore, yeah. We should have a carnivore. 1, 2, especially these two here. This midsummer should be a massive carnival, and it enables us to be set free, especially the women, and that's what they used to do with the Dionysus. DIs again, Dia, Dionysus, and the Di connected to the Ida, which is the right brain. It's also connected to Mount Ida, which you're going to go into, which is in Crete, yeah, which is Crete, yeah, which is where I think it was the Levantines, yeah, which is where Mount Ida was at. In actual fact, it was the tribe of Judah, and they used to, and one of their patriarchal deities was Nergal, which I'll go into, right? But Nergal, which I'll mention in a second. We'll go into that because that was a part of where I was going to go to after I finished the last one. But we'll continue with this. So here, after they become more intelligent, yeah, and their lifespans have now been increased, right? The end pole exposure resulted in a weaker, smaller rodent, as explained. As they become intelligence is increased, reflexes, and the environmental reaction. So they're able to become more aware of their environment and more aware of what's going on around them. This is one of the reasons why we have people who are not aware of their surroundings and not aware of what is being happening around them. Even though it's there in front of their face, they still can't see it. You can't see it, right? Inferring the brain's ability to be more sensitive in recalling information and the environment. North Pole animal or rodent was then more intelligent than the dull-witted, overly strong, slow to learn animal or rodent we have found is the result of South Pole exposure. The strength giving results of the South Pole energies and the resultant changed animal, while being overly strong, was in no way slow to move and respond to activity. Yet there was a failure to have a quickness of mind. So the body is stronger, but the mind is slower. The quickness of mind that the controls presented, or the increased mental activities of the North Pole animals and rodents. Right. These were the results in each of over 300 experiments conducted within an 8-year period in our laboratories. From these experiments and these results, a reasonable possibility exists to program certain and very advanced degrees of intelligence to rodents, animals, and therefore within the possibility to consider the same for man. Right. There is a similarity with these experiments and the proverb, the wiser, the weaker, right? Concerning the changes, and this is why we see some of us that are, and we are, some people, not everybody, because we're all different, right, to a certain extent, metabolism, etc. But many who are generally, you do quite see, are generally quite slim, much slimmer. Yeah, you become more, or you will lose weight as you move towards your soul. Yeah, like that. This is what can happen, because you will find, this is why you find Jesus with the thieves and with the harlots, the prostitutes, and with those that are suffering, because the millionaire, yeah, the tramp has more wealth than the millionaire. The tramp has less. The tramp is more satisfied than the millionaire, because the millionaire is suffering, is anger, vexation, and all the rest of it, because of he's trying to keep, greed is driving him to continually go for more. This is why even when we look at vices that don't cause harm to others, yet within the laws of nature, it's the ones that cause outward harm to others. Yeah, like if you're lustful, but you are lustful, right? If you are greedy, you are mostly causing harm to yourself, but you will cause harm outwardly to others in ignorance, if that is allowed to continue. By causing harm to yourself, you'll cause harm to others. But it's the ones such as the theft and the willful lying, yeah, that causes suffering to other beings long term. Those ones come with the bigger repercussions. They will come with much larger repercussion. Right. So that was what it was saying here concerning the change in the effects in the rodents animals. This was the result of the application of the North Pole energies. The extension of life system to live beyond their normal lifespan has received much discussion in scientific reviews. Men and women advancing their development to becoming outstanding. So I'll stop that bit there. So the reason for that is because as all of our bodily functions, they start to become much slower, right? And what's actually happening is where illness comes into play, or where not even illness comes into play, where dis-ease comes into play, yep, North Pole magnetism will arrest that negativity. The South Pole magnetism will increase, so it can increase your uptake of proteins. It can increase that, yeah, instead of having it be in a diminished state. So we are able to accelerate our bodily functions and processes. I know this because I am doing it. It's actually being done. Right. Within the air, when you feel that there's a coldness in the air, it's an electricity which gets risen, because that's why on the feet when we put our feet upon the earth, right, what actually happens is we are putting our feet, yeah, upon IR, yeah, and this is why you've got fire and earth, because we are putting our feet upon IR, yeah, right. So when we are putting our feet upon IR, we are working with magnetism. It is a force, and these are forms of magnetism that we are working with and conducting. Yeah, that is what is taking place, right? And that's why we have our feet, which is double E for energy. Yeah, that's why if I give you a squeeze, yeah, or if I sweep the floor, I sweep it up, yeah, and that's why that is taking place. So what's actually happening through the air, what we breathe, we call it air, right? Yeah, contains its electricity, and it's cold. The electricity is cold. When you put plasma waters, whatever it is, on your skin, you go into outside, you will feel that cold, and that cold. So what it does, it throws the heat up into the air, and then when it brings it back down, it's because it's electricity which is causing it. It's the magnetism and electricity constantly working in tandem, working in tandem all of the time. Yeah. So, and then when you put things on your skin, this is what I was on about here with the sex. When we put things on our skin, yeah, because we've never been in that world before, but the plasma in the urine The plasma and the urine, they are bringing that to us. They are bringing that to us. When we put things on our skin, we find that it's an acceleration. It's an acceleration because we're using the layer above our skin, so we're working with the metaphysical forces and the metaphysical bodies. So what we find is the magnetism within the positive pull within our head, within our brain, conducts the magnetism in our body, so it conducts our senses. But then all the locomotive actions are conducted by electrostatic charges. Yeah. But what happens is, as soon as you go to put anything on the skin, your magnetism takes over, which is your soul, and it pulls it in to the organs that require it. It pulls it in to the areas that are requiring it, which is giving you sovereignty now, because you are able to, you're balancing the body. The body is, you're now finding ways, organic, natural ways of working with higher states of matter, yeah, because that's what the urine is. That's what that would be. It's a high state of matter, right? And that is why you sip piss. Sip and piss is the same word. Sip piss. It's the same thing, same word. Piss is also going to take you straight back to the 9 as well. So there again, and the 9 is telling us that then we are working with the forces of spirit. That is what we are working with. So this board here, and this board here, it will say, obviously we've got the Tevra at the top, yeah, but then 3 Mason is 3 Mason, yeah, because to be free requires energy. You cannot be free without higher energy. So this is why we have double E. But you have to, your enlightenment has to become the master of your ego. Because it is our ego. See, it's the ego that makes us think, well now this, and even when in spiritual circles as well, we do this. We think that there's going to be some sort of outside force. Oh, we don't have to do it. There's going to be something else. All we need to do is just meditate. Yeah, and then there's going to be something else that's going to come and solve all of this for us. That's what's happened in this like New Age movements and stuff over the years. We've not realised that we have to take self-responsibility and we have to become total master of our own temple and therefore learn what needs to be learnt. And that is what happens here with the Jack of Clubs. And that's why the clubs, it is at the peak of life. The peak of life is the peak of intelligence. It's the peak of magnetism, which we've just been going through. It's the peak of heat. With that heat comes this intelligence. And that's why a clover, this 3-leaf clover, which also has 4 points, yeah, goes from a 3 to a 4. The 3-leaf clover is a symbol for wisdom. And that's why it is up here, the Jack of Clubs. Right, so the soul is the neutral energetic between the two. So it is the soul here. There's these 3 forces. And that centre force here, which is the Jack, which is the knave, which is the soul, yeah, is the go-between. Yeah. Just like in the government, they have the knaves. So there was the 3 actually, yeah. You have executive. Executive is the kings, yeah. These cards are based on the American system. It's based on the system. The reason it is because that was the old Atlanta, is what they say. So based on these, where you have your the 3 ruffians, yeah. Where you have the 3 ruffians, which is ignorance, selfishness, and fear. They also have Bill Cooper was one that used to say this actually, and then he's dead because they killed him, didn't they? Many years ago. Right. He used to say that the Masons that he'd spoken to in the secret societies, they considered the 3 ruffians to be government, state, and the mob. And the mob rule, the mob is the people. They are considered the mob. They considered the mob. And they considered the mob is because they don't know the laws. They don't understand the supreme laws of universal laws. And that makes them the mob. Because what happens is they don't understand the laws. So it means that if they have an argument with a neighbour breaks a fence or something like that, they cannot get over it. Because money is in the way, and selfishness is in the way, and the ego is in the way. It's in the way because it takes one of the two to lower the ego to say, I'm sorry, I broke your fence. It is my fault. I broke the fence. I broke it. It was me. I put my hand up. I am sorry. But if the ego stops us from doing that. It stops us from doing that. It is the ego that makes, even in our truth community, where you might see me doing this or something, and think and say, well, he is somehow talking shit or something. He thinks that he knows what he's talking about, but in reality, he doesn't. He doesn't, because I know more. Right? There are people that know more than me, but I know what I know enough to be able to teach myself and some others to be able to diminish their suffering. Yeah, yeah. And I tell you, it is the ego. It is the ego, yeah, that is causing this massive division between us. That is the thing that makes another sheep stand on another sheep's neck just to eat. Yeah, the ego that does that. Yeah, that is how this is working. Right. So this is why with this board here, it says a lot. So you free Mars, Sun, yeah, free Mama, Sun, because Ma is in Sumer. Even if I go all the way back to Sumeria, Sumerogram is for Mama is Amma, Mama, Amma, yeah. This is what it is. It is Amma, Mama. And that's why we'll say Mama, Amma. Yeah? This is the reason why we say that. Because it's engraved within our subconscious. And Mama is Matter, is Magna. Matter is Mama. Yeah? So you got to free Mars, Sun. Yeah? Because had we all became the builders of what we are supposed to be, yeah, well, I can assure you that we wouldn't be experiencing the scenario that we are experiencing now collectively, because in the collective, if the overall thought wave and pattern, yeah, has no intelligence and no enlightenment and no true care involved in it, then the total in the collective, yeah, behaviour will be negative to suit that, yeah. And this is the situation that we are in now. We think that it's okay for others to suffer, whilst we are sitting down in thinking that we are somehow better off, right? But in reality, it is the total opposite, and because of that, all will have to pay the consequence. It doesn't matter where we go. Nobody's running away from anything. Sometimes we think we're running away, and it doesn't matter where you go, because it will still find you. Yeah, it will find you, because we all have to take responsibility for what is happening here, and that is why we dropped down into here. Yeah, was to experience this, what we will experience now. But it takes work at the same time as well. Even if you get trapped in a smart city, if you get yourself trapped here, it doesn't mean that it is the end, because what you are seeing now is only a mere distraction of what is going to take place, which I can show, because they put it out there for those with eyes to see, who are going to be able to get through it. 9 days of it. Happened previously, yeah. So, right, so then you have free Mars, Sun, Freemason is 6, will come out as 6. Free Mars, Sun is the Sun, which is you are the son of the Christ, yeah, but which is the widow's son, because Hiram Abiff was the widow's son, yeah, is the builder of the temple. This is what you are, right? So you are freeing Mars, Sun as the widow's son, yeah. But it goes back to Osiris and Isis with the Masons. That's how that they are working with. But then, if we looked at something like in Egypt, we have Atum, right? And then he gives rise to the Ennead, which means 9, Lord 9, right? And he gives rise to these 9 gods, and 2 of those was Nut and Geb, right? But he does it through masturbation, right? Because there's no divine feminine involved in that, because it's patriarchal, Yeah. So this is how they do that, right? They do it through masturbation, and then you're also what you're doing. The reason they said in the Bible it wasn't the act of the masturbation that was the issue. What was the issue? What was the actual issue? Yeah, it is the actual issue is the thought pattern that comes along with it, because that's what happens when you're triggering that side of your magnetism. Yeah, whatever you focus upon will then grow, and it will create images and pictures within the mind. And this is, so then we are walking around using the brain below the navel, and this is where we are falling into, we're falling into here. So what it says in there then, what it says in here then, right? So if you say, the Mason is the widow's son, you are which is what you will be, right? The widow's son, right? Now, it will then go on to say in here, right? The access, when we first, as the soul, when we come through, before you were born, you're working with these three elements. You're working with fire, you're working with matter, you're working with earth, yeah, which is earth minerals, and you're working with water. As soon as it comes through, it takes the first breath, and now, once it does that, you're then working with the four. Once it does that, you're then working with the four. Once you are working with the four, once we then go from the 3 to the 4, and guess what? That air, this what you see here, it spells it out. The pyramid of the 3, and that's what happens here in the quarter of death. Because you see, this here, it is the quarter of death, right? And he has these swords here. He has these swords here as the king, right? But he's only working with those 3 elements at this stage here. He's only working with those 3. He's not working with anything else. But even when he's fallen, he still has a crown. You still have your crown, yeah? Right, when you fall, crown is gold, right? That will always remain, because then what needs to happen, access the universal breath. This is what I've written. To access the universal breath, yeah, we tether the universal mind, yeah, by commanding matter governed by the soul, right? That's how this works. So you see there, you access the universal breath, and we have to access the universal breath. It tethers us to the universal mind. By commanding matter, yeah, the commanding of matter is governed by the soul. That's how that works. The commanding of matter is always going to be governed by the soul. Now, in the religion, you see, look at the religion, Christianity. They will tell you not to meditate. Look at that. But the king, your saviour is residing within your breath. That which will save you reside within your breath. So here, with the fire, we have inspiration. We also have, it gives us faith, and that is in the quarter of love. Here, that gives us faith. That's where that comes in. But then on the other side, in the earth, with the earth, that is giving us sensation. And then that sensation that we see there, is here. Is in this goat. He's back to this goat. Yeah, he's back to this goat Capricorn that we see here. Right, he's back to that goat. Yeah, that I just had up. Yeah, the goat. Let's put it up again so we can see it. Technology, crazy. Yeah, there we go. You see, there's waters. Look. There's the goat. And usually the goat of Capricorn, it has its tail in water. And the reason it has its tail in water, is for this reason here. It has its tail set in the water. There. It has its tail set in the water. Make sure that you can see that. Yep. It has its tail set in the water. If you're looking at this smaller board here, right? Because it is in alignment with Enki. It has an alignment with Enki, and Enki was a Sumerian god. But Enki was connected to these are 7 heavenly bodies connected to Saturn, right? So Enki, yeah, is you would find here. And Enki is also symbolised. It also has the horns as well. It also can look in that same image. But the goat that I just shown you, this goat that I was just showing on here, the goat here, there, you notice it has a beard. It has a beard. The goat has a beard, right? But you would always find that at the same token, with the goat having a beard, Enki also has a beard. But all of these gods you see, they have a beard here, right? But Enki is connected to Ea. I think I've done this before. Which is connected to Ea is the earth. Earth, Ea. But Enki is these are coming through waters, because there was clear waters, and salt waters. And Enki is a god of water as well. But he's also a trickster god. But he's also a lustful god at the same time as well. And what he was doing is equated with semen. Right? So I want to do this board, because any key is in alignment with water. Yeah. You see, all of the luminaries have an angel and a devil within them. The angel and devil, right? So, and then you have this scenario with fallen, what you call fallen entities, watchers, fallen gods, right? Yeah, it's real stuff, right? So Enki is, if I take this apart, En is Lord. So Lord Ki, which is Lord Spirit. Ki is spirit energy. Yeah, that's what Ki means, is spirit energy. Yeah, but Enki is also Nike. The word Nike means Enki really. It means Enki really. It means Enki really, and it's Nike air. This is air here. And then you have this symbol here. You have this symbol there. So you have Nike. But Nike is Nyx. And the Nyx used to be at war. They used to use Nyx, like the floral leaf that they used to have. And this is it here. So you see, this is here Nike. This is here Nike, which is Nyx. Yeah? So Nike, which is Nyx, is the goddess of Nyx, was connected to Zeus, which is connected to Jupiter. Yeah? But Nike means to attack. So imagine the people, they have you wearing Nike all the time. Nike Air. Yeah? Which is so what you're doing here is you're attacking here. Attacking at the point on the lower six here. In the lower six. This is what's happening, right? Attacking you in your lower six. Saturn in your lower six. Got many moons. One of them is called Pan. Sensuality. Yeah? So he's attacking you. They're attacking you when you wear that. You see, when you wear these symbols in your lower six. This is where the attack is taking place. Here, when you've got one eye and you've already compromised yourself, you're falling into your lower natures by kind of selling at your fellow man, yeah, in favour of feeding your ego, which is in line with your animal intellect, which is us trying to survive using no intelligence at all to do that. This is us operating from the perspective of fear, which leads us to control and selfishness, etc. Yeah. So moving forward, you have Nike to attack, right? But then you have King. Now these gods, the kingship came from them. In Sumeria, this is where kingship comes from. It comes from these gods. The gods provide kingship. It was the gods. Before that, there was no kingship. In Sumeria here, it wasn't patriarchal at all at this point, right? Early on, it wasn't like that. Then what happens is you've got Nike is connected to Ares. Ares is a son of Zeus, but Ares is connected to Mars, which will then take us all the way back to Nergal. Nergal that you can see here, look. This here Nergal. So this lockdown thing that happened all started off, right? It was initiated here. Yeah, in Aries in here with Mars, right? This is where it was initiated. And this is why I said Nergal here, right? This tribe of Judah initially, right? Nergal was one of their gods, but Nergal is a god of the underworld. He took 14 demons down to the underworld with him, which is your sevens, which is your 7 and 7. But your 7 and 7, you can get 7 and 7 here. If I put a 7 here and a 7 here at probably two 45-degree angles, it will give me the cube. This is what it will do. 45-degree angle is key. We're speaking about war here. When you go to martial arts, you put your body in a 45-degree angle like this, yeah? And this is why when we walk around, you have your head how high? There are many stances that operate by 45 degrees. 45 degrees, which is 9. 45 degrees, yeah? These things here are there for you. We are supposed to be master of our state in all ways, So patriarchal deities such as this one, yeah, will be venerated because within the psyche, because you can see here the pack of cards that I've got here, yeah, master number 11. I know my number. I'm a master number 11. That's why we teach this stuff, is what I do. Right, you see here the red and the blue, yeah, of the magnetism, right? Red and blue. There it is. His dogs. He has the dogs of red and blue. This is what we need to do. Become master of the forces that are within us. The forces are within us, yeah, as our mother and our father, which is positive and negative magnetism. And you see here, this is the mother here, because Nergal, which was worshipped at Mount Ida, yeah, which was where Zeus was kept, right? And they kept Zeus there to hide him from Kronos. We're talking about Jupiter here and Saturn here, and this is what you're in here. What we're speaking about here, yeah, is going to give us. This is the Saturn and Jupiter lockdown that we're going to be experiencing. And I'm not even finished this series yet because I still can't get to the end of it because there's a lot to it. And in it, I'm going to be explaining quite a bit of stuff. They're even putting out this. There is a 13th, yeah. They're even putting out there's a hidden 13th. There's a hidden 13th out here, right? And it's in alignment with our sex. It is in alignment with our sex, and it's affecting our psyche. So Nergal that you can see here, yeah, that was initiated, that you can see here, yeah. You will see a serpent here. There's the serpent, and it's right next to the mother goddess that you see there. And then you'll find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's holding the staff here with 7 notches upon it. And then you'll see the scorpion here. When the sun goes, the sun gets stung by the scorpion as we head into the fall of Scorpio in October. And that's where Nergal, this figure, comes back out again. And in here there's a little X that marks the spot. And you'll see here, just like my cards over here, just like if I take any of my cards here, especially the king card, this is kingship in Aries. If I take this kingship card here, kingship card there, yeah, you'll see him wielding an axe above his head, look, yeah. And really, in reality, that king there is wielding that sword of righteousness. But you see, Nergal also has the beard, and he also has the axe in his hand at the same time. But Nergal means light, and Gal means chicken. He is a fighting cock, a fighting chicken. Yeah, but he's a phallic deity. Because what is a cock? A cock is a phallic, which is a bell end. You wear a belt around to cover up your bell end. Yeah, and this is why, because we are talking with this fire energy. Yeah, this masculine magnetism, masculine pole, and this is these certain entities are then venerated to bring about psychological thought patterns that manifest the scenario that we currently live in right now, which is based around a sort of bashful, lustful, non-caring, overly sex-driven scenario, which means that the self-gratification of the self increases total selfishness, right? That total selfishness creates increased levels of mega suffering. So we just finish off this board there. So then you have N. So then what happens is N is Lord. So Lil is storm.